I'll cover ranking and RANKHIST in this video. Before getting started, make sure that your add-on is installed, that you've activated it with your subscription ID. If for some reason it's not saving, then do it in incognito mode because Google is caching your drive in your browser, so you need to bypass that and start fresh. And secondly, verify that you've got your seller nickname added into your Gorilla account. So it's going to just make it so much easier when you use your formulas instead of having to type out a long, convoluted seller ID. In my case, it's called test seller 2. So every time I reference test seller 2, that's the nickname of the test account that I'm using in this video. I've got my list of asins already loaded up in column A using Gorilla underscore ASINLIST. Now to pull up the ranking, start by doing Gorilla underscore ranking, and it's going to highlight and tell you to enter your seller ID or your seller nickname. Test seller 2 is the one. It's also referenced in cell A1, and I like to just click. I like to have my inputs already available in the spreadsheet and then just click that cell. So in the future, it makes it just very dynamic rather than having to manually enter, say, test seller 2 into the formula, and then later on having to remember where you entered all of these static and hard coded it into the formula. So seller ID, I'm just going to select A1 and it's going to now pull in test seller 2, press comma, and it's going to move on to the next one where it's the list of the SKUs or the ASINs. So anytime you see SKU or ASIN, it's the same thing. We use it interchangeably. And rather than just selecting a single SKU, I'm going to select this entire range so that I do it all in bulk. Okay, if you come from Excel background, the usual way to do it is select it and then just drag it down. But in Google Sheets, it's much more powerful to do it in range, and it's going to just simplify your formulas and really speed things up. I'm going to close this formula out, press enter, and now it's going to load the current ranking, the BSR, the bestseller rank, for each of these ASINs. This is going to update automatically. So for example, if you come back to tomorrow or next week, it's going to update with whatever the latest ranking is. This function ranking is only going to show you the current rank. Okay, so it's not going to be showing you the historical. That's what RANKHIST is for. You can also dive in and get granular if you want. So this is just going to default to your marketplace that you connected to Gorilla. So most people, they're going to connect it using USA, but if you want to pull it in for Canada or Mexico, then you can actually go ahead, enter the country code, and it's now going to pull in the rank history or the ranking for that particular country code. Okay, query type is going to show you whether you want to just pull in the top level rank. So with all of the categories, a lot of people, when they mean rank, they usually reference the top level. So for example, like sports or home and kitchen or beauty or something like that, right? But you can also select the child category. So if you're in, say, the kitchenware and then you're selling cups, maybe you want to get the ranking for your cups category. Then you can select in the query type child like this, and you can see the different versions that we have. So you can select top or child or all, and it's just going to give you everything. Okay, that's how you would do it. I'm going to show you another version where you actually do use just one input for the SKU instead of a range. And that's because if I want to pull in, say, on the query type, I want to use all, it's now going to show me all the different categories that, or the rank it is in for the category. So this is going to be the top level category, and this is going to be the child category. And you can see why I can't select a range in this case, because if a product is in multiple categories and it appends or creates a new row for each one, everything's going to start trying to overlap each other. Like if this is in this one SKU has two results and this one has, like, say, another two results and this one says another two results, it's going to be a mess when it tries to load all of these in a sequence, and it's just going to be all jumbled up, and it's not going to match. So that's why. But I can get this further down. And on the return style, right now, if you just see a number like this, it's sort of hard to understand what it means because there's no context, right? So to get that context, use return style. And in this case, I'm going to select, let's say, by default, it's usually only going to show you the ranking, which is the number. But if I want to see some text to it, I'm going to do something like cat. Okay, so, and this means it's going to show you the ranking plus the category. Do that. And now it's going to actually show you what category and what the ranking is, so it provides some more context. So play around with it, and as you just do it, it becomes very self-explanatory. Just follow the sequence, just follow what is highlighted in the info box, and we've got all the descriptions here, so it just makes it super easy. Let's move on to RANKHIST. So RANKHIST, same thing, select your seller ID, A1, and for the period, the required format is going to be your seller ID and the period. Okay, so because it's going to pull in a day-by-day history of what the ranking was. To make it load quickly, I'm just going to do last 7 days. Inside quotation marks, last 7 days. I could have entered last 7 days, like say up here. Last 7 days. I must have spelled something wrong or done something incorrectly. Let's see, Tesla. Okay, I didn't enter the SKU or the ASIN, so you actually need three required inputs. You need the seller ID, you need the time period, as well as the list of the SKUs or the ASINs. So here I'm just going to drag this again from A2 to A16 because I want to get the historical over the last 7 days for all of the ranks for each SKU or ASIN. And you can see that this one formula will create and populate this table here, where you've got the ASIN or the SKU on the left as a column, and at the top you've got the dates. If you want to flip it around, actually before I get to that, I'll show you how I've got last 7 days that I entered just here, and in the formula, rather than manually typing it out, I would do, oops, I would do that. So now it's got the Tesla 2, I'm selecting the last 7 days and I've got the range of the ASINs. So enter that. It's going to pretty much show you the same thing, but the beauty is that if I change this to say something like last 14 days, the formula is automatically going to update and understand that something has changed in the time period and show it like this. Now, using the same format, I'm going to go to the end of the formula, press comma, and now same thing. You can choose your marketplace, the different types of queries. You can select a custom start and an end date instead of just using a preset like last month, this month, last 14 days, last 7 days, etc. But what I want to show you is to change the direction of the table, you use the transpose option. By default, we have it set to yes, so that you have the SKUs on the left and then you have the dates at the top. But if I want to switch it around, so I have the dates in a column and the SKUs or the ASINs at the top like that, I'm going to do no. And now it's flipped everything. So now you have the dates on the column and you've got all of the ASINs at the top and you've got a day-by-day analysis and historical rankings that you can now go ahead and create a chart or just track for whatever purposes that you need. Maybe you're running a promotion and you want to see how the rankings are changing over this certain time period. So that's how you would use ranking and RANKHIST.